Welcome to my video on how to use the Match Betting Odds website. This video will not describe what match betting is. We'll assume you already know that. So you've moved from being the red line, the normal punter, to the green line, which is a match better. However, if you want to add defense to your match betting, this website will help you improve the process. The agenda for today will be first, I'll set a quick challenge to show how the tool can be used. Then we'll step back and have a look at the data loading process, how to update your bookie preferences. We'll step through how to use the optimizer tools, and finally, the process for finding the best conversions of your bonuses. Okay, so I'm going to set 4 challenges for myself. I'm going to find the best NBA Dutch two-way. I'm going to find an NBA three-way Dutch and make sure Sportsbet is one of the legs. I'm going to find the best EPL three-way bet and make sure PointsBet is one of the bookies. And finally, I'm going to assume I've got a Unibet bonus and find where the best place is to convert that. Okay, let's do the challenge. First, load my data. I'm going to need the EPL. I'm going to load some NBA head-to-head, and for good order, I'll load NBA spreads. I'm going to go to my optimizer. First challenge, best NBA market. Okay, NBA, two-way, calculate. There we go. PointsBet, I can bet the Mavs versus Cavs with tab touch for only a 0.23% loss. That's quite good. There you go. I'd copy that bet, put that on a notepad, go trade that. That's challenge 1. Let's do the same thing. We want to three-way that, and we want to make sure Sportsbet is involved. Sportsbet's a must. Three-way, non-soccer. Let's calculate that one. There we go, with this combination. So straight up with Unibet, multi with PointsBet, multi with Sportsbet. This combination results in only a 2.1% cost. There we go. I can copy the details of the bet, and there's that done. Challenge 3. An EPL game where Sportsbet was the one of the bookies. EPL game, make sure it was PointsBet was the bookmaker guarantee. Go soccer. Now, there's no soccer games the next day, so I've got to change that to 3 days. Here we go. All right, so Aston Villa versus Leicester. If I bet using Betfair, PointsBet, and Tab Touch, I'm only losing 2.1%. Copy that bet if I want, paste that on a spreadsheet, and away we go. Final challenge, the bonus conversion. I assume I've got Unibet. So Unibet's already there. I'll just show you how this works. If I use simple Dutches, NBA, that's not great. So 60% conversion if I bet between Unibet and Betfair. Same prices I'm effectively getting at Tab, so I could choose between the two. Not great. So let's see if it's worth waiting a little while. So 3 days, anything, and I can include Betfair lay options. Oh, there we go. So I should be putting my $10 bonus on Unibet at 10.50 for Leicester and laying that off at 11 with Betfair for an 82% turnover. Much better. Now, I did run through that reasonably quickly, so let's step back and see what we did here. First, I had to load the data. Now, this website does source the actual odds from another provider. It doesn't do it itself. It focuses on the calculations and the presentation and the customization. So we have to load the data from that other third party. That goes into a backend web database where everyone actually gets the data themselves. So what you'll see is if someone's updated that data recently, these will be green lines. So I've just done these 3 sources. You'll see they're green. Red lines are ones that are a little bit too old. Sometimes you have stale data. That means no one's updated it since all the previous games that have been loaded have been finished. So you'll see the stale data and no next game. This other white column here, the next game time, that'll just let you know when the next game is. Sorry, I should have started on the left. These are the acronyms for what the actual sport is and which the markets are. So you get head-to-head, spreads, and totals. It does vary with the type of sport as to which combination you get. If you want to see on the very right, that is the slightly longer description in case the acronyms don't make sense. Okay, so another case, as I said, you just refresh the data. That'll actually suck it into the database, and then you'll see these green lines. So what has that actually done? So let's view this bet matrix for the NBA because it's the easiest one. Okay, so what this has done is it's actually loaded up a whole lot of game data. So I'll step through this slowly, but what you can see is, again, the description of which sport you're in, which market we're looking at, when the game starts, how fresh is this data, the best EV in the Dutch bet options that you're about to see below, and then there's a quick link. All this link will do is it'll scroll you down to one of the games. So let's start at this top one. So the Pistons versus the Hornets. This is at 11 a.m. tomorrow. So I'm recording this on Friday, the 3rd of January. What you're going to see here is all the bookie odds aligned by pricing. So Sportsbet's the best, Top Sport is the worst, which is not uncommon, I'll be honest. Home team on the left, that's the Pistons, and away team home team at the top, away team on the left. Now, what you're going to see in the middle is the EV if you Dutch bet at these two odds. Okay, so this is a sports bet and tab combo. If you bet at $1.46 and $2.90, you drop a little bit under 3%. What you can see in the grey there is the sizing of the bets to make that a perfect outcome. Okay, so you can get the same payoff no matter what. As you can see, as your bets get slowly at worse odds, that percentage loss starts to get bigger. Same if you go vertical, if you go down a bit lower. So in this market, 2.89% is the best. If we go to one that's probably a little bit less, so there you go, Mavs versus Cavs. What you're going to see there, okay, Tab Touch and Unibet look like in sync, and looks like PointsBet's a fraction higher than the rest of the market. So, that's a useful one. Now, you might see quite often Betfair sitting at the top, not so much in this one. I will flag Betfair odds are adjusted for a 5% VIG. So those odds are probably something like $1.42 if you look at Betfair. So what I've done is I've taken that 5% off, so you've got a fair comparison. Okay. Now, all these markets are going to have that sort of streaming color. So that is the matrix. One thing, some markets have middles, and that's what we get excited about. So let's look at the spread market. Hopefully I get a good example here. Not quite, actually, not that one, not that one. All right, here's an example. What you're seeing here is a spread. So what you can see here is Play Up is offering $1.92 with a 6.5 point penalty, whereas Tab is offering $1.90 on the Wizards with a 7.5 point head start. So there you go, 7 is your middle. Now, if you looked at $1.90 and $1.92, which we don't, at 7.5, there you go, your penalty would be closer to 5%. So that's just $2.90s prices. You can see it's actually a lot better than that. That's because this model does actually take into account the value of that middle. Okay, so that minus 164 is an expected value, allowing for the fact that there is a 7-point score there where you'll get both sides hit. Okay, so just allow for that in your considerations. Now, this is well and good, but sometimes we don't actually have all of these bookies, and what we want to see are the scores favor for us. So everyone starts off when you load this as the base model. However, as I said, not everyone's got this. So what we do here is we move these preferences to how your setup is at the moment. So what I tend to do and what I recommend you do is for favored, they're the accounts where you have promotions. They're the ones that you want to see most of the time when you're trying to do turnover. Sometimes, however, you will have lost your bonuses. It does happen. We all know that. So let's move a couple and we'll model that we've lost these guys' bonuses. And also, one thing, Betfair, you generally don't need to turn over it's an exchange. It doesn't care how much volume you do there. So put that to indifferent. Sometimes you also have just never added a bookie. Okay. What you do then is you save. Okay. There you go. Now this preference is saved on YouTube. This will actually change your view. So if we go back to here, actually look at that. See, we've been more than 10 minutes. So this has actually gone to a red. So I'll just refresh the data just because it's always nice to have clean data. Back to the matrix. Now, we've got color coding. So what this has moved to, these blue bookies are the ones where you had a preference. So they were the ones where you still have the favoritism, where you've got the promos. Anything that's gray will be ones where you're indifferent between. So you've got the account, but you're not trying to actively trade through these guys. Anything that lighter gray, they're the ones that you chose, that you sort of flagged as not having an account. So they're going to fade out. What you'll see is these colors change. So anything that's now blue, that's when both bookies are in your favored list. Okay, so focus on the blue ones. If you see a green cell here, what that means is one of the bookies is favored and one of the ones you're indifferent in. So if that's still a really good price, sometimes that might still be be worth doing the turnover just to get that bookie turnover with the one you still like. Anything that's grey, you're just going to not see anything. Sorry, and that'll be the case also. They're going to go with no background for when you're indifferent between both of the bookies. Okay, there's no point turning over bonuses for bookies who've, there's no point turning over Dutch bets for bookies who no longer give you bonuses. So if you scroll down, you can see, yeah. So this is an example here. Your best preferred bookies, it can cost 3.5%, whereas you could get actually a sort of good one for the tab, but a bad one for the one you don't care about in sports bet for what's that, less than half the price. That's a consideration you have to make. Scroll down. Yeah, look, you can see a few patterns. There you go. There's one that's still nice and dark blue. Okay, let's show next trick. Back in the data loader, I'll just make sure everything's fresh here on the MBA. Again, we'll focus on these guys. This game display option, what this is going to do is this is going to load up any game that's been loaded recently. And if it has data loaded for the head-to-head, the spread market, all the totals, it'll flag that as how fresh that data is. This is still pretty good, so we'll run with one of these. How this can be used is if you're coming up to a game time, again, I'm not really, but if you are coming up to a game time, just click on the link and it'll actually show you that entirety of the game, all those three markets. So you're going to get the head-to-head, the spread, and the totals. See, in this case, the best EV being offered is actually on the totals market, which, if I scroll down to the bottom, sorry, yeah, there you go. So you've got a good middle here, actually. So Unibet's offering $1.92 with a 216 over market, whereas PlayUp is offering $1.91 for 217.5. You've actually got a 1 point proper middle and a push as well. Again, this is all accounted for in that calculation. That's $1.19. And again, you're sizing it's effectively 10 against 10 there. You know, you might want to look at a game and say, hey, look, if I need to do some turnover, what's the best option at the moment? This is that. This is the page for that. Okay, moving on to the optimizer, which is slightly more fun, I think. Now, what are we doing here? There's a few things to do here. So effectively, you've got the data coming in, all the markets that you've seen on the previous page, along with the freshness test. Here is the list of bookies. Now, notice that that setup has currently come in referencing your preferences. So the ones that you said I've still got bonuses on, all the bookies that are under that list are now as the cans, and you've chosen to exclude those that you either don't have bonuses with or you don't have accounts with. We can then start looking at how many bets we want to include in this league. So there's the simple head-to-heads. What I'll show you here, and I think I did this earlier on the challenge, is that you can choose to have just a simple Dutch. That's two legs in this market. And if you choose the can, it'll choose bet pairings from anything that include these bookies, okay? The one variation is if you're saying, look, I really need to say, do some turnover on Unibet. I know I'm about to do a lot of promo turnover there, so I need to actually get some cover. You can click Unibet, and then every bet that comes through will have Unibet as one of the legs. So if you click the calculate button, this is where it brings it up, okay? So all your markets are head-to-heads to the start. They tend to be the best. Then you start picking up a few spread markets. You'll notice some of the text changes. It'll start telling you where that, where that point line is. So that market there, $1.93 to $1.93, not bad odds. Getting +3 on the Houston Rockets and a -2.5 at PlayUp. So it's only really a push market, not a true middle, but still that's adding some value to the calculation. Anytime you see one of these bets, you can actually do the copy bet. That's just there to give you the information. So you can cut that, maybe paste it in a chat if you're highlighting it to someone, or you want to put it on a notepad yourself, okay? That's now on your clipboard, so just go paste it wherever you feel like. I'll just go back. Now, one other thing, you put two musts on there, and you'll actually find that every bet that comes through now has only those two in there. So every bet here will be between Unibet and Tab. The list is a little bit shorter. The other one would have been about 50 bets. Now it's gone longer. One thing I should know, I probably should have noted it before, anytime you see an inverse middle, so your 2.5 head start here and a 3-point penalty here, the default EV goes to -9.99%. So anytime you see that, you know that that's actually not it's an inverse middle. There might be positive EV for it, but most people don't like having a outcome where they can lose on both bets. So we've excluded those effectively. Okay. Now, one other piece here. So you can do those three-legged bets. Now, again, I did show this example. I will flag this will only work with head-to-head markets. I haven't yet got it working for spreads and totals. That's a bit of work to do in the future. So again, I'll just give you the option of all these bookies. If we hit calculate, what this is going to do is find bet combinations where you get one straight bet and then two multi to use in a Dutching process. What you find is every one of these payoffs is exactly $100. Okay, so $3.70 for the price at $27. It gets you 100, and the same calc for these others. What that'll mean is that effectively, if you add this up, that'll be about $103, which is why your total EV bet, you're spending 103 to get 100 back. That's a small cost. However, you are getting quite valuable turnover at both tab and play up, because they're going to look at you as just a vanilla mug punter who's putting there at long odds, and you're also getting Unibet with a bit of turnover. That's not bad size to put over. This will have a few variations. You'll often see the bet EV is similar across the two, because you'll get, so Unibet $1.54 or Tab Touch $1.54. It's going to be the same bet. Maths. If you scroll down, you'll start to see different combinations. It looks like that $1.54 is dominating. There you go. Start to see a few variations coming through down here. 330 play ups involved in this one. Tab, Unibet, etc. Now, for any of these bets, you can copy the bet details. That's a little bit wordy, so I did create a slightly shorter version as well if you just want the succinct number. It doesn't have start times, doesn't have much of the detail, but the gist is there if you just want to get the high level. Okay, now one alternative is the soccer. Now, obviously, if I try to do a three-legged soccer on NBA, I'm going to get a little message hopefully telling me off. Yep, can't run that test outside of soccer. So let's go back to soccer. The EPL. It should work for A-League as well, just if you're interested in that. One thing, I'm recording this, there's no soccer games in the next 24 hours. Now, you can go out to 1 week, 3 days, etc. Try 1 week. What you're going to find here, it's just a head-to-head bet. It's not 3 different soccer games. So because the draw option exists in soccer, obviously you have to have that other option in there. So this is finding a couple of actually fairly similar bets. Again, Tab Touch and Unibet seem to get the same price providers for multiple sports. So you'll often see them switched around in various trades. So you can scroll down here. These are all sort of around 3%, which frankly in soccer isn't too bad. So again, you can copy the bet. It'll just give you the details of what to put through where with who. Now, one thing I'm going to go back, data loader. So we looked at the NBA mostly. One thing is the EPL is a 3-way, so that matrix view does not work. Okay, so we've had to vary it a little bit. So what we've got here is quite a lot of soccer games. Same details. If you just click a quick link or go to Aston Villa versus Leicester, you're going to see the game details here. So what we've had to vary here is at the top, you're going to get the best combination for bookies that are in your favorites list. So these are the ones that you have the active promos and where you want to focus your turnover. Okay, so this is saying between lads, tab, touch. Okay, that will happen. Tab, touch will be there twice. Luckily, Unibet is actually the same price again. So you can switch Unibet in here. Otherwise, yeah, probably red flags will be raised. Now that is a cost of 3.46%. Again, for EPL, that's not terrible. Sometimes you get a bit lower than that, but it's a pretty tough market to get really tight prices on. What you do have over here is the different sizing. Okay, so again, this is to win $100. That exact numbers with these prices will give you that payoff. We also then include the OK ones. So this is including your favorite bookies, but also the ones you have an account with and you're okay to trade with. Okay, so sometimes if you see two, you see two blues here and a green with a substantially better expected value, that might be your preferred option. What the rest is here is simply an ordering of all the bookies. So this is just basically the best price for each of the options in this game in a sorted list. Again, if you look at the very bottom, if you, for some silly reason, chose to use all the worst prices for each of the bookies, it'll cost you 10%. Difference between 10% and 2% sort of shows the value of having a lot of bookies, frankly. Okay, we've run through most of that now. What's left is the bonus conversion process. Okay, so this is where you have a bonus and you want to look at where the best place to convert it is. So let's randomly choose, we'll go with lads. Actually, Yeah, we'll go with loads. Okay, so to start off, if we just exclude the Betfair lay options on soccer, just to make things clear at the moment, what you can choose here is who to use on the other side of your bet. So obviously Ladbrokes will be the one, they've got the bonus. Should you use anyone who's in your chosen list? So they're the ones, again, you've got the promos, you probably want to do them with the turnover, but also you're probably just trying to monetize a bonus bet here. So often it's perfectly okay to use the OK bookies, the ones you do have the accounts with but may have a promo ban. So clicking, sorry, and also you can choose games starting at any time. So further out, most sensible trades will be only in games that start fairly soon, but sometimes you do want to look at what's ahead and say, oh, there might be some better opportunities that I can wait for. Okay, so maybe we'll choose the next 3 days. Choose calculate. Now this will offer anything that's been loaded. So a while ago I did load some NFL. That's why this is coming up now. Again, these are games that don't start for a little while, so I'll probably steer clear, but it's suggesting that the prices that were loaded at the time had, well, there you go, Ladbrokes at 16s on the Browns versus Ravens. Okay, so there you go. That was a pretty good turnover, 70%. That's not too bad. I might just go back and choose closer to home. So that's the NBA. There, look, 66, that's not great. You probably wouldn't think of that. And again, it was just flagging it. This is a Dutch bet. You're backing both sides here. So what we did is we found that that wasn't always a great outcome. You actually often got better prices by laying one of the soccer legs. They tend to have higher prices and quite good liquidity in Betfair. So I found that that was useful to add. So by including the lay options in soccer and moving the dates to include them, you can just see what's coming up. If I calculate that again, actually, that's interesting. So there wasn't actually any great EPL trades with the Ladbrokes pricing. Okay, so that NFL that we flagged earlier still remains the best one. A League, which is coming up in tomorrow, is okay at 70%. And you can scroll down. Look, this is going to give you plenty of options, but getting progressively worse. So just have a look at your leisure. I think the example I chose earlier, so let's just for good fun, see if BetRight having a good. Yeah, BetRight's a bit better. So there you go. Leicester, backing Leicester at 9.50 on BetRight. You can lay it off at 11 on Betfair, 73%. Again, that's okay. I'll leave it up to you to decide whether that's for you. Okay, well, that's all I wanted to run through today. Hopefully you can see the value that this tool provides. If you do have any comments or improvements or suggestions or bugs, send me an email at support@mbodds.com. One thing, do not request new bookies. I don't control the list. As I said, this is sourced from a third party. I'd love more bookies as well, but that list is what it is. Also, look, again, websites are being scraped, data is being sourced, there are lags, prices do move, so make sure you do check both or 3 legs of any bets before placing, because you can't guarantee odds will be accurate. But anyway, best of luck. Hopefully this massively improves your match betting and makes your life a lot easier and a lot more profitable. Enjoy.